Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. I don't know where the expression open the taps actually came from. It's one of my pet expressions, as our regular viewers will know. It means open the throttles and let's see what the car will do. That is my translation. But anyway, it's part of the merch and we seem to be selling a lot of it at the moment. So this is another chance to purchase a bit of Tyrrell's Classic Workshop for your loved one or for yourself. So there we are. Now then, here we have the Lotus Carlton. A very interesting car, this. One of the joys of being in this business and having this business is that we just do not know from one minute to the next what's going to come in. We know, this YouTube channel started with Harry Metcalf and myself, Harry Kane. He said, can we make a few videos about you rebuilding my Espada engine? And the rest is history. Harry sort of very graciously actually helped me through the process of setting up a YouTube channel, and here we are at 30 million views and north of 200,000 subscribers. But that was very Lamborghini-centric, and the business is Lamborghini-centric. I'm the technical officer of the club in the UK. We get a lot of work on classic Lamborghinis here, and that's great because I'm very fired up and very passionate about them. But the other side of the coin is that we never know from one minute to the next what's coming in. And I've had the privilege of working on examples of this car over the last 40 years. As I remember, I did one about 20 years ago, which was not dissimilar condition to this, and that had done a massive 12,000 miles from new. A gentleman bought it new. He decided he just bought it for the fun of it. I think he'd had a bonus through his business that he was with at the time, a very large business in the UK, and he thought, you know what, I'll buy one of those. That was a very high mileage car compared to this. This one has done 4,000 and odd miles from new. It's had some new tyres on it, but other than that, it is factory original. I think the petrol might be new-ish, but it does start and run, but we have been tasked with recommissioning this car and making it work as well as it looks. A little bit of background first. The General Motors decided they wanted to do something a bit adventurous in the late 80s. The Carlton was always a good car. They came in some fantastic colour schemes, and a friend's dad had one in a beautiful burgundy metallic, quite the car. Then General Motors thought, let's do something really crazy. They got in touch with Lotus in around about 1989 and a bit earlier, 88, and they said, we want to do something wonderful with the Carlton, and wonderful it is. Lotus worked their magic on it. They took the multi-link rear suspension and they actually rebushed it, re-altered the geometry for things like power, when the power is going through the wheels, the torque reaction into the chassis. They went to AP Racing for bigger brakes. The real news is under the bonnet on this car. It started life as the 3-litre 24-valve straight 6 engine that was used in the Carlton GSI 24-valve, which I had a beautiful one of those a few years ago, and the Senator 3-litre 24-valve as well. So it was a beautiful straight 6 mil, and Lotus reworked the whole thing. They took it out from 3 litres to 3.6 litres, and then they added all sorts of addenda to it, twin turbochargers, charge cooling to reduce the intake temperature by 60 degrees C or thereabouts, to make the actual density of air coming into the combustion chambers greater and cooler, which helped with piston cooling, exhaust gas temperatures, all that sort of thing. They ended up with 377 brake horsepower. Straight out of the box, which was just over 100 bhp a litre, which in the late 80s and early 90s, for a sort of stock, not stock, no, but production car, was quite interesting, really. 2 small Garrett turbochargers, so no sequential turbocharging. Each turbocharger fed 3 cylinders, and it was a small unit, so it could spool up. You didn't have the turbo lag that, in fact, this cheeky little Italian number, the Ferrari F40, had turbo lag deluxe. So did the Porsche 930 turbo in the 80s. And they all had big turbos so that they could get lots of air with them, through them without overspeeding the turbocharger. And that's why they went for two small ones on this. And the added advantage is that you don't have a lot of weight to get going, which is called turbo lag. The turbos spool up very easily. And don't forget, a turbocharger is working round about 10 times the speed of a jet engine. 120,000 RPM when it's up to full chat. Because of the smallness of them, as I say, there wasn't that 1980s turbo lag that cars, even very expensive cars, had. Torque, it was 420 pounds-foot of torque, which was a lot for a car weighing 1,600 kilos or thereabouts. So this wasn't a heavy car. You'd struggle for a saloon car these days to be under 2 tons, unfortunately, with all the safety equipment, the crash equipment, everything else. They all came in this beautiful colour of imperial green, which it really does change in the light. I'm not sure whether it's pearlescent, mica or metallic, but it is a stunning colour, this. In the sunlight, it just comes alive, and it's like a very metallic dark green, but in the light that's not particularly bright in here, it's just a dark green, but it really is a fabulous colour. They hit the bullseye with this. It was only available in this colour, full stop. On the European mainland, you could have the Opel Omega, which I think they made around 600 of. In the UK, it was the Lotus Carlton, and they made 320 of them. But the thing about this car is that it's the power delivery. Because you have small turbos which spool up with less effort than a big turbo with loads of inertia to overcome, the power curve on this car is beautiful. You start to get full boost at 2,000 RPM or under, and the car it's a missile, this car. Even nowadays, this car, because of the way the chassis is, it hasn't got driver aids, it's got ABS, but very little else in the way of electronic stability program, none of that. The electronic stability program is your right foot. And the result is truly staggering. This is a very European way of approaching power. The Australians with the Holdens and the Americans with whatever the equivalent would be under the GM ownership in the US would have gone for a big V8, a normally aspirated V8. No, this is the very European way of doing things. Take a small, efficient engine and make it as powerful as possible, or as powerful as is sensible. So this really is a sensational car. I love the Lotus Carltons. It was very interesting. They were so radical when they came out. I mean, the Ferrari Testarossa, which was launched in 1985, so 5 years before this, the top speed, the sort of performance figures on that car, two-seater, don't forget, flat 12 engine. It was around about 180 miles an hour top speed and 5-ish and a bit seconds, 0 to 60. Just about, almost the same as this. This is just a smidge under 180 miles an hour. But it caused an absolute furore, this car, when it was launched, because there were even questions raised about it in the British Parliament. Should this car even exist? 180 mile an hour Super Saloon, which you can drive around town relatively inconspicuously, and then drive, you know, if you want to, at any speed you like, up to 180 miles an hour. They were, obviously quite a few of them were the targets of thieves when they were new and contemporary. And the police were also raising their objections to it because they couldn't actually catch it. They didn't have cars. They had Rover SD1s, which were good for 125 miles an hour, probably one or two other special cars up their sleeve, but nothing, even a two-seater sports car, that could touch this four-door saloon. It really was an amazing car. And to find them left in this condition, this is, we're tasked with the job of recommissioning this car. It's absolutely, totally original and immaculate. To have the job of recommissioning that is a real privilege. It's just a lovely thing. How far do we go with this? That's one of the questions. The clutch and transmission are from the Corvette ZR1 or ZR1, 6-speed manual with a big clutch to handle the power and torque. They are a particular thing. I mean, a lot of the parts for this, clutch included, are not really available anymore. Obviously, when GM stopped production, they had a limited supply of parts and consumables for years to come, but that supply has long since ended. There is a very good owners club for them. A lot of parts support is almost impossible, so we have to navigate a very careful course through this. Coolant hoses, belts, the filters we'll be able to get, but things like the seals inside, do we take the engine out and the transmission and strip them down, reseal them, put them back together? I don't actually believe we need to do that. We have to look at everything systematically and inspect it and take a measured view. Recommissioning something like this is a huge responsibility, and it takes a great deal of discernment to know where to start and where to end. And everybody has a different view on either leave well alone or tear the thing to pieces and remanufacture it. Everybody's in a different place on that spectrum. We are very much in the preserve, conserve, get working properly school here. Obviously, the car is part of a lovely private collection. This is not the only car the owner owns, so it's not going to be used massively. But we want it in a state of readiness where he can feel good about it. If he wants to take it for a run, he can jump in it and drive it. So lots to achieve there. At the moment, the car runs, but it does no more than that. The engine was modified by Lotus as well. They changed a lot of the internals on the engine. They lowered the compression ratio to just over 8:1, which is quite normal for a turbocharged engine. Rolls-Royce and Bentley did the same thing with the Mulsanne Turbo when it came out in 1982. They lowered the compression ratio on that to 8:1 so that the engine doesn't blow its brains out with the turbochargers, pushing so much pressure in it. It's a judgment call on how far we go, but we want the car working and running. We don't want to have to make any excuses for it. And again, it's predicting what is going to happen after we give the car back to the owner. We want to try and future-proof it so it remains in a usable, workable condition. One thing I have noticed on the car, and this is actually perfectly normal, this is that the two of the doors on the car line up absolutely perfectly and precisely, and two do not. I'm just going to look at the driver's door and the back door on this side, because really this is the sort of thing that I do obsess about, is how doors close and how everything works on the car. It is, the two doors on that side are okay. The car has never been in an accident. There's no question of any unsavoury things like that. I'm talking about millimetres of precision here. I consider it one of my tasks while the car is to actually make the doors all close beautifully and uniformly. I remember in the 1990s, Audi on the little A3, which was a very good car, they had a very substantial door lock mechanism on them, and the striker plate, the bit that went on the body, was quite a heavily engineered item. Audi simply used the door locking mechanism as a blunt instrument. They didn't actually line everything up so you could just go clonk and it closed. They used the heavily engineered striker plate to guide the door to the right position, so it could either be high or low at the back of the door, and they relied on the receptor, the striker plate, to actually close the door properly and line it up with the body. Not how I like to do things. Obviously, it was a very safe car and a very solid car, but that's not the sort of level we're looking for. We want perfection. So, yeah, there it is, the Lotus Carlton. I can't say or do too much more about it at the moment because the car is not a driver, and we've got to choose the weather right to take something like this out. A, for getting the car horrible and dirty and manky and causing corrosion, and B, keeping those 380 brake horses under control in a two-wheel drive car. What can possibly go wrong? Well, just to drill down into my door obsession a little bit, This side of the car, as I say, it can be any or all or none of the doors on the car that this situation applies to. It's nothing to do with the car's history. It's just the luck of the draw. After all, this wasn't a ridiculously priced car. It is based on a very nice saloon car. But these doors are okay, as I shall now demonstrate. So they work beautifully and they close beautifully. Same with the back one. Right sound, and the door actually doesn't go up or down. There's no bumping on the striker plate as the door opens and closes. That's just got the tiniest bit, that one. But if we go around to the other side, that noise tells me that the door is actually low. It's as I close the door, the striker plate pulls the door up to align it with the body shell. So it's just slightly off alignment. Same with this back one. That knocking noise is the door hitting the striker plate, which means you have to slam it a bit more to close it. If you close it with the same effort as the other side, it doesn't close. Are these things important? When you get in your Lotus Carlton that's been stuck in the garage for months since you last used it because you've got this beautiful collection of cars, you want the whole thing to be tactilely beautiful. It's next level, but it's got to be done. This is a part one of 2 videos actually, because we have to do a full evaluation on this car. It's a tremendous responsibility to do a job like this, because we have to strike a balance with 3 elements. First of all, what needs to be changed now. Secondly, what needs to be changed in the future. And thirdly, what could fail at some point in the future. We have to anticipate as well. And that is a very, very big ask. But you know, we're honoured to have the car here. That's what we do. Some of the work that's going to be done on this car will be charted and looked through, and then the road test in part 2.